शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता चैप्टर 18 श्लोक 57। मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि। Arjuna is in a dilemma whether he should perform swadharma or he should take to sannyasa. To this ambiguity of Arjuna, Krishna is giving an unambiguous reply, a clear-cut reply. Arjuna is not ready for sannyasa yet. Therefore, he is supposed to do his swadharma. Macchittaha. While performing swadharma, he is supposed to do it with the proper attitude. The attitude is given by the word macchittaha. Fixing his mind in Ishvara. Ishvararpana buddhya ityartha. Performing one's swadharma as an offering to Ishvara is called karma yoga. Krishna is advising Arjuna to practice karma yoga. Where will this karma yoga lead to? What benefit will karma yoga bring? Mat prasadat. The karma yoga as a result of karma yoga, one gets the grace of Ishvara. Ishvara prasada. A karma yogi receives the grace of Ishvara. With the Ishvara's grace, sarvadurgani tarishyasi. Arjuna will cross over all obstacles. Sarva Durgani means obstacle. Sarva Durgani, all obstacles. Obstacles in the pursuit of Atmajnana. And these obstacles are in the form of the impurities of mind, like ragadvesha, raga, attachment, dvesha, hatred. You can also say kamakrodha. All undesirable impulses that haunt the mind. Are called Durgani. Karma Yoga clears up all the impurities in the mind. In other words, Karma Yoga brings about Chitta Shuddhi. Therefore, Sarva Durgani Tarishyasi means you will get Chitta Shuddhi. On getting Chitta Shuddhi, Arjuna will qualify for a full-time pursuit of Atmajnana. Thus, Krishna suggested Karma Yoga to Arjuna. Krishna suggested the performance of Swadharma to Arjuna. And the words of Krishna are very much in keeping with the Shastra. Krishna is playing the role of Arjuna's Guru. Krishna's words are the words of Guru as far as Arjuna is concerned. And the Guru speaks based on the Shastra. Both Guru and the Shastra are the greatest well-wishers of an individual. Shankaracharya says, Matra Pitra Sahasrebhya api hitaishi Veda. The Vedas, the Shastra, are a greater well-wisher than thousands of mothers and fathers put together. Therefore, it is in one's best interest to abide by the instructions of the Shastra. In spite of that, we find that many people disregard the Shastra. Why people disregard the Shastra? Krishna says, the main reason to disregard the Shastra is ahankara. Pride, arrogance, the attitude that I know better. I know better. Who is the Guru to tell me? Who is the Shastra to tell me? This is the attitude which makes an individual disregard the Shastra. Now Arjuna has a fear that Krishna has a fear that even Arjuna might have the ahankara. Therefore, he might disregard Krishna's words. Therefore, he says, ahankarat, because of ahankara. Athachet tvam ahankarat. Athachet, if tvam, you, ahankarat. In this context, ahankara means garva, arrogance, conceit. Nayotsya iti manyase. Sorry. Ahankarat na shoshyasi. If you don't listen to me, if you disregard my words, then who is the loser? Krishna is not the loser. Guru is not the loser. Shastra is not the loser. Then who is the loser? Arjuna himself will be the loser. Because Arjuna will lose the opportunity for his own spiritual growth by not abiding by the instructions of the Shastra. Vinangshasi, you will be the loser. Vinangshasi, you will not get spiritual growth. You will be deprived of spiritual growth. If you want spiritual growth, it is in your best interest to perform swadharma with the proper attitude. यदहंकारमाश्रित्य नयोत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति. Now, Krishna is giving one more reason why Arjuna should not give up his Swadharma. There is something called Prakriti. It is also called Swabhava. Prakriti or Swabhava both have the same meaning. It is the temperament of an individual. An individual's temperament and it results from the unique combination of gunas that an individual carries. Each one has his own individual unique combination of gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, as we have seen earlier. And that is what constitutes one's swabhava, one's prakriti, one's nature. And this swabhava includes the ability to do a given form of work and also the urge, the desire to do the given form of work. The swabhava cannot be resisted. It is not possible to resist one's swabhava. That is what Krishna is saying now. Swabhava is like a flowing river. You cannot resist a flowing river. If you try to resist a flowing river like Ganga, it will just flood all the places. Then what can you do about it? You can only channelize it in a proper direction. The swabhava can be channelized in a proper direction. Even in chapter 3, Krishna talked about this same prakriti or swabhava. Chapter 3, shloka 33. Prakritim yanti bhutani nigrah kim karishyati. Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakriter jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigrah kim karishyati. The same idea was conveyed. One cannot resist one's prakriti. Nigrahah king karishyati. And in Shloka 34, chapter 3, Krishna also says that the Prakriti can be channelized in a proper direction. You have a choice over which direction you want to channelize your Prakriti. Whether you have to channelize in the direction of Ragadvesha, or whether you want to channelize it in the direction of Dharma. It is in our hands. Therefore, he says, Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavasthitau tayorna vashamagachet tauhyasya paripati. In chapter 3. Do not channelize your Prakriti in the direction of Ragadvesha. Instead, channelize it in the direction of Dharma. Let us take Arjuna's example. Arjuna has the swabhava of a Kshatriya. He has the willingness to fight and the ability to fight. It is his swabhava. He can either channelize it in the direction of Ragadvesha. He can fight for fulfilling his greed, or he can fight for the sake of Dharma, to protect Dharma. It is in his hands. And the war of Mahabharata, it is a Dharma Yuddha, a war fought for safeguarding Dharma. And fighting this war is a proper way of channelizing his swabhava, his Kshatriya swabhava. See the book. Yadahankaramashritya, taking recourse to your ahankara because of pride. Nayotsya iti manyase, you are thinking, I will not fight. If you have decided, I will not fight, then Krishna says, Mithyaisha vyavasayaste. This decision of yours, it is mithya. Te vyavasayaha. Vyavasaya means decision, resolve. This decision of yours, the decision to withdraw from the war, it is mithya. We should understand the word mithya properly in this context. It is not the mithya of Vedanta, not a Satya Mithya, not that meaning of Mithya. In this context, mithya means futile, useless. This decision of yours is useless. Why it is useless? Because you cannot resist your prakriti. Your prakriti will force you to work. Prakritistvam niyokshati. Your prakriti, your swabhava, it will force you to do the given work. It will impel you to work. You cannot resist it. If at all Arjuna does not fight in the Mahabharata war, he will end up fighting elsewhere. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibaddhasvena karmana kartum nechasi yanmohat karishyasya vashopitat. Krishna is explaining what he said in the previous shloka. An individual is bound by his swabhava, and the karma that is determined by his swabhava. One does not have choice regarding one's swabhava, because it is determined by the unique composition of gunas that we have. We don't have a choice over it. The swabhava, on one's swabhava, one does not have a choice. Let me explain this with an example. Let's take a mother of a newborn child, a newborn baby. What she feels towards her baby, she will feel great love for her baby, great attachment to her baby, and great urge to nourish her baby. It is her swabhava, a mother's swabhava, how she feels towards her baby, what she wants to do towards her baby, what she wants to contribute to her baby. It is natural to her. It is a mother's swabhava. And she cannot resist it. You cannot tell a mother, you give up your baby and you become sannyasi. Is it possible? It is impossible. Therefore, what advice can Krishna give to a new mother? You take care of your baby properly, nourish your baby, feed your baby. It is your swadharma. And while performing your swadharma, You do it as an offering to Ishvara. Ishvara has given me this baby, and Ishvara has made me the mother of this baby. Therefore, taking care of this baby properly is Ishvara's work. The work assigned by Ishvara. Therefore, I will do it as a worship of Ishvara, as a service to Ishvara. This should be the attitude of a mother. Likewise, Arjuna being a Kshatriya, he cannot resist his Kshatriya Swabhava. His urge to protect the society, his urge to rule, his urge to fight for the sake of justice, for the sake of dharma, it is Kshatriya Swabhava. If Arjuna tries to resist this Swabhava, fighting is bad, so I will not fight, and I will become a sannyasi, it can be disastrous. Because if he becomes a sannyasi and joins an ashrama, his swabhava will open up there, and he may start fighting in the ashrama. Fighting in the battlefield is dharma, whereas fighting in the ashrama is adharma. Therefore, Krishna says, you have your swabhava, and you have the karma that is determined by your swabhava. You do not have a choice over it. Hey Kaunteya, O Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Svena Swabhavajena Karmana, Svena Karmana, by one's own karma, one's own swadharma, which is determined by one's swabhava. Swabhavajena, nibaddhaha, you are bound. You have no choice over it. You have no choice as far as your swabhava is concerned. But you have choice over how to channelize your swabhava. Therefore, yat mohat kartum nechasi. Mohat, moha, delusion, confusion. Arjuna has a confusion regarding what is right and what is wrong. Kartum nechasi. Now you do not want to perform your swadharma. But you cannot escape from it. Karishyasya avashopi tat avashaha api. Without a choice, without freedom, karishyasi, You will do it at another point of time. If not now, you may do it later. Instead of channelizing it in the right direction, it may end up getting channelized in the wrong direction. Therefore, it is right for you, it is proper for you to perform your swadharma. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddesherjuna tishtati Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. In last two verses, Krishna talked about Swabhava. We do not have a choice over our Swabhava. There are so many things in our life that we do not have choice over. The rising and setting of a sun, when the sun should rise and when the sun should set, do we have any choice? We do not have any choice. When the wind has to blow, do we have any choice? We do not have any choice. Likewise, even within our body, there are so many things happening. Even the body, we don't have a choice. Whether we should be born male or female, we didn't have any choice. We didn't decide, I want to be born a human being. I want to be born male or female. I want to be born in India or America. We didn't have choice. It is given. Our parents, who should be our parents? What should be our mother tongue? What kind of constitution we should have in our body? Whether Vata, Pitta or Kapha. Some people have Vata predominant body. Some people have Pitta predominant body. Whereas some people have more Kapha. That is why always coughing. Who decided? All these, we do not have choice. Likewise, even our Swabhava, what kind of nature we should have, what kind of temperament we should have, we didn't choose. It is also Ishvara's. All the choiceless, all the aspects of life where we do not have choice, is determined by Ishvara. Right from the rising and setting of the sun, we do not control it. Who controls it? Ishvara. Bhishasmadvatah pavate bhishodeti suryaha. Bhishodeti suryaha. The sun rises and sets. It is decided by Ishvara. Ishvara governs the sun. Ishvara governs the wind. Likewise, Ishvara is governing our own body. So many movements that happen in the body. Even digestion, all the metabolic activities are governed by Ishvara. Likewise, even our swabhava, our temperament, our natural disposition is also determined by Ishvara. We cannot reverse it. Then what we can do? We have to accept it. Accepting the choiceless as the grace of Ishvara. Accepting the choiceless as Ishvara's grace. This is an important aspect of taking refuge at Ishvara. Sharanagati. In this shloka, Krishna says how choiceless we are, how various aspects of our life are determined by Ishvara, and we do not have choice over them. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. Ishvaraha. Ishte iti Ishvaraha. Ishvara means the ruler, the sustainer. Where is Ishvara present? Ishvara is not present in heaven. You cannot locate Ishvara somewhere above the clouds. Ishvara is in and through. He is antaryami. Antaha sthitva yamayati tyantaryami. He is present in and through everyone. Sarvabhutanam hriddeshe tishtati. Hriddeshe, in the heart. In the heart, there is antahkarana, mind, and Ishvara is there in everybody's mind as the very illuminer of the mind. He is governing everybody's mind. Hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. In everybody's heart there is Ishvara. Brahmayan sarvabhutan, and being present within everything. Being present within everyone, he is moving everyone. Brahmayan, Sarvabhutani Brahmayan. He moves everyone. Determining each and everyone's swabhava. Determining our swabhava. Determining our temperament. Krishna gives an example. Yantrarudhani mayaya. Yantrarudhani iva. We have to supply an iva. Yantrarudhani iva. Mounted on a machine. As though mounted on a machine. When we are sitting in a machine, yantra, like aeroplane, we do not have choice. Once you sit in the aeroplane, you do not have a choice where the aeroplane has to go, how it should go, when it should reach. Everything is in the hands of the pilot. When we sit in the aeroplane, we have to surrender to the pilot. There is no other way. We all trust the pilot so much. He will take us to the destination. We have so much of Shraddha in the pilot. That is why we sit in the aeroplane. We do not have a choice. We don't know how to fly the aeroplane. And even if we know how to fly, we won't be allowed to fly. You are a yantrarudha when you sit in the aeroplane. You have no choice. So this is an example to choicelessness. You cannot even get down until the journey is completed. That is why I took the example of aeroplane. If it is a train or bus, you can at least get down in between. But in the flight, you cannot get down in between. Once it takes off, you have to just wait. This is my example. Shankaracharya does not give this example. He says, he takes the example of puppet. Yantrarudhani means a puppet. The puppet is mounted on a yantra, on some kind of machine, and it is made to dance, made to move its limbs and hands and legs. The puppet does not have any choice. It has to dance as per its program. Likewise, so many aspects of our life are governed by Ishvara. Both externally and internally. Externally means outside our body and mind. Internally means within our body and mind. That is why we have two divisions, Adhibhautika and Adhyatmika. Adhibhautika, external features, like the weather, when it should rain. All these are external. And internal, Adhyatmika, our body and mind. What should be our disposition? How our body should be? Even our age, so many diseases, we do not have a say. When I should get COVID, I do not have a choice over it. In spite of being very, very careful, many people got COVID. We can be careful up to a certain extent. That is where the domain of our free will is. You can try to be careful at the maximum extent. But then there is a daiva, your prarabdha. That is why, in spite of being very careful, some people got COVID. When we see this verse, people might think that Krishna is ruling out the domain of free will. It is not so. Free will has its own role in our life. But we should be clear about the domain of free will, about the area of free will. Where there is free will and where there is no free will. There are aspects of life where free will cannot do anything. As I said, rising and setting of the sun. Likewise, our own swabhava, our temperament, it is determined by Ishvara. We do not have a free will. But how to channelize our swabhava? Whether we should channelize it towards dharma or whether we should channelize it towards adharma, that is where we have free will. And that is where Krishna says, Uddharedatmanatmanam. One should make effort to uplift oneself. How uplift oneself? By channelizing one's swabhava, by channelizing one's abilities, one's temperament in the direction of dharma. Then it will contribute to one's own spiritual growth, one's own spiritual upliftment. So, yantrarudhani mayaya And Ishvara does everything with the help of his Maya, with the help of his Maya Shakti. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata तत्प्रसादात् परां शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्. तमेव शरणं गच्छ. Take refuge at Ishvara. Taking refuge at Ishvara mainly involves two things. Number one, accepting the choiceless as Ishvara's grace. All aspects of life where we do not have a say, where we do not have a choice, we accept as Ishvara's grace. Ishvara has given this. Accept it. Whether we like it or not, we accept it. It is one aspect of surrender, one aspect of Sharanagati. Number two, performing our Swadharma, offering it to Ishvara. What is right at a given situation, a situation where we are placed, what is right in the given situation as per the Dharma, we do it as Ishvara's Ajna, as Ishvara's command. Ishvara wants me to do it. Therefore, I do it as a worship of Ishvara. This is another aspect of Sharanagati. Tameva sharanam gaccha. Take refuge at Ishvara and Ishvara alone. Tam eva. There is evakara. Eva means only. Do not take refuge at anything else. Do not take refuge at wealth or relations or material property. Take refuge at Ishvara alone. Let everything be there at the periphery. But do not take refuge at them. Do not depend on them. Depend on Ishvara only. Sarva bhavena, in all respects. Madhusudana Saraswati says, Kaya vacha manasa, physically, verbally and mentally. All the actions that you do, physically, mentally and verbally, offer it to Ishvara. Then what will you get? Tat prasadat. Then you will get Ishvara prasada. The grace of Ishvara will descend on you. And in due course of time, you may get Atmajnana and you will get Moksha. Param Shantim Prapsyasi. You will get Para Shanti. permanent peace and shashvatam sthanam and permanent abode, Brahman. You will attain Brahman, means you will get moksha. इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं गुह्याद्गुह्यतरं मया विमृश्यैतदशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु. Krishna is slowly concluding the teaching. Iti te jnanamakyatam. I have given you jnana throughout 17 chapters, starting from chapter 2. Jnanam akyatam. I have done upadesha of jnana. The jnana that is revealed in the Shastra. And it is guhyad guhyataram. It is the greatest secret. Greater secret than any other secret. It is very precious. This knowledge is very precious. So the Upadesha is almost complete. Whatever has to be told is told. Now what should Arjuna do? Should Arjuna follow Krishna blindly? Krishna says no. Do not follow anybody blindly. Instead, you analyze what I have taught you. Think over what I have taught you. And get proper clarity. The Shastra never says you should follow anything blindly without thinking. The Shastra always encourages proper reasoning, proper analysis. Etat asheshena vimrishya. Asheshena. Etat vimrishya. Etat, what I have taught you, the jnana. Asheshena vimrishya. Analyzing it completely. Inquiring it completely. Do inquiry. Do analysis until all your doubts are dispelled. And you are very clear about what is taught. And ultimately, Krishna says, I am not compelling you. In fact, our Shastra does not compel anyone. The Shastras are not dogmatic in nature. If you do this, it's fine. If you don't do this, you will be persecuted. You will be punished. It is not so with our Shastras. There are other religions in other countries, and they are dogmatic in nature. If the people do not follow the prescriptions of their religious book, they can be punished by the theocratic authorities. That is why Galileo was imprisoned. Why Galileo was imprisoned by the Vatican? The Vatican imprisoned Galileo, punished Galileo, because his ideas were not in keeping with the doctrines of the church. His scientific discoveries were not in keeping with the doctrines of the church. And so many witches. There was something called, burning the witches in Europe. Why was it done? Because what they did was not in keeping with the accepted doctrines of the theological, the theocratic religions. Krishna says, the Shastra is not for imposing on anyone. The teaching of the Shastra cannot be forced on anyone. He or she has to abide by the instructions of the Shastra voluntarily. Therefore he says, Yathechasi tatha kuru. Do what you feel like doing. Yatha ichhasi. What you like. Tatha kuru. Do that. Finally, Krishna is giving freedom to Arjuna. The ultimate decision is yours. I have told you what will lead, what is good for you. I have told you what will give you spiritual growth. But whether you have to choose spiritual growth or whether you have to choose spiritual downfall, it is up to you. Nobody on this earth surface is going to punish you because you have not followed the instructions of the Shastra. Krishna has given complete freedom to Arjuna. It is your choice. Do what you like to do. Krishna has given only jnana, a clear understanding of the Shastra. In fact, our Shastras are jnapaka. They tell you what is good for you. They are jnapaka. They do not force you to do any action. Whether you are doing or not, it is up to you. It is your choice. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम।